Mike, we got to talk NFL here. And we're really privileged in this area to have three quality teams in the Baltimore Ravens, Philadelphia Eagles, and Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
And I look at this almost like the NCAA, where the Eagles knocked off the Ravens, the Steelers knocked off the Eagles. So does that make the Steelers the best team in the tri-state area? Who's the best NFL team?
I think that the Ravens still might be, and I think that the Steelers are getting healthier, and therefore will be maybe a contender for it. The Eagles are, when they're absolutely at their best, are as good as anybody, but they're not at their best very often, and their worst is incomprehensible.
Eagles just drive me nuts because they could have won all these games if they would have played the way they should. The turnovers, there was the big Achilles heel last year, has been a big Achilles heel again this year. The Ravens look so good at the block. They've been in all these crazy Monday nights and Sunday nights and Thursday night games. And yet I look at the Steelers, who were so banged up and probably had a bye at the beginning of the season that was really welcomed for them to get healthy.
Right.
And they're starting to get healthier. Polamalu hurt his calf a little bit again. But these guys really looked like they're going to be on a roll here. And I'm curious to see what Joe Flacco does, because he started off so strong, and now all of a sudden he's becoming Joe Flacco again.
But they're 4-1, and it's a long season, and they're in pretty good shape. A couple of things about the Eagles, because it's just astounding. There's only two teams in the league that have winning records that have negative point differentials. The Cincinnati, which is -4, they've allowed 4 more points than they've scored. The Eagles are -19.
Wow.
They're the only team in the league. This was true last year. It's still true this year. In the top 10 in the league in offense and defense, and they're in the top 10 in the league in total offense, but last in the NFC in scoring points, and that's because of the turnover margin. Their turnover ratio is -7. The only other team that ties that is Dallas. They're also -7. But number of turnovers, the Eagles have 14 turnovers. Nobody else in the league has more than 11. The two teams that have 11 are Carolina and Dallas, two teams with quarterbacks who try to do too much. And the theme alert here, so it's just a weird thing with the Eagles.
Our sports columnist for the Sunday News, Paula Wolf, made a comment that if Vic doesn't fumble on like the 1-yard line, they win that game because they would have scored there against the Steelers. But the Steelers are 22-1 against the NFC when they're at home. Ben Roethlisberger has been phenomenal with that. And
Ben Roethlisberger does just as much as Michael Vick does to extend plays, to improvise, to do it on his own, but he's a big 6'5" guy who does not kick the ball around the way Michael Vick does.
It's a huge thing. So I can't wait to see when the Ravens play the Steelers, because you talk about a clash of the Titans there. The Eagles had a great win against the Giants the week before, a very emotional, entertaining game, and I was really curious. I really didn't think they would do well going into Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Going into Pittsburgh, it's a tough environment to begin with. Pittsburgh's coming off a bye. I figured blowout city with the Steelers. I've seen this before with the Eagles going in there in these kind of situations. Instead, the Eagles could have, should have, but didn't win that game, and I was at least encouraged.
That's a good
a very good Steelers team that they
it is encouraged. They went in 3-1. All the stuff that you just said, Starkey, plays into it. You look at that situation, you think, well, this is almost a game that you looked at before the season, almost conceded as a loss, and they could have won it. The fact that they could have won it drives you bananas, but they're 3-2, and they did compete at a place where not many people win.
They competed well. What does bother me is you beat the Giants in a hard-fought game, and then you give it up the next week. It's the record.
Sure.
And the Giants get, because of schedules, they get the Browns and blow them out, and now they've got it.
And at some point, maybe this is who the Eagles are, and they're just going to drive you bananas.